I was there. I don't have to listen to it.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and we're here at Bethany Blues in Bethany Beach, Delaware.
We're upstairs.
We're within sight of the bar room, also within sight of the bar. I actually posted a picture of our view of the bar, which is pretty cool. This is a designed building for sure. They didn't just slap this together.
Yeah.
You know,
Aren't most buildings designed?
Yeah, but I was reading something, and I can't remember the guy's name, but there are people who really think about architecture, and you forget that.
Yeah.
But the guy who designed this is like, all right, if someone's sitting here, what do I want them to see?
Right.
And if someone's standing here, what do I want them to see?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you see these architectural features, and you're like, oh, this isn't an accident.
Yeah.
They did this on purpose. And so I'm looking down at the U-shaped bar, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, this was the angle they used to help sell this design.
Right.
They're like, people be
And
upstairs.
where we are right now was helped to sell it to the mafia people because you can see the door.
You can see the door.
And we're right next to the back stairs.
Absolutely. Well, but if a guy came in the kitchen, we'd be in trouble.
Right, which they normally do in the mafia
so
movies.
We'd probably be.
So we'd be in trouble.
No. I have half a mafia story. I have these arguments with myself all the time.
Yeah.
And one of them is that I was able to avoid talking to mobsters more than I was able to avoid talking to politicians. But mobsters didn't make me feel as dirty as politicians.
Very prophetic in this current climate.
I only met 2 mobsters. I met 1,000 politicians.
Yeah.
Just, like everybody else.
Yeah. So, interesting story about this location here at Bethany Blues in Bethany Beach. So, we did a little birthday story for one of the owners, Dickie Heidenberg. And so we interviewed all of his close compadres. So owners here, Jim and Monty were involved in that. And we heard a story about, so there's these great windows here, or skylights.
Right.
That, shed light down to the first floor, and we're in this, wraparound balcony that's looking over the U-shaped bar, like you mentioned. Well, so the 3 owners, Dick, Monty, and Jim, had this argument about these lights. So...
and so you're talking about the track lights around the skylights?
No, the skylights.
The skylights in general, okay.
Yeah. So Dickie, he's like the wild and crazy DC entrepreneur. He's got the big long hair, and he's like, I want a 10 by 20 skylight. As big as the bar, lighting everything up, filling the whole place with sunshine. And they're like, all right, well, we're going to look at it. We price it out, and there's a steel beam that runs through here.
Right.
It's like, all right, we have to have this steel beam that runs through the middle of the restaurant. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to do 2 10 by 10 skylights.
Right, which equals 10 by 20.
No, I want a 10 by 20 skylight. Well, and not only that, it's like Dickie had it in his mind that, well, if you get 2, it's going to be more. And it was actually cheaper to do the 2.
Buying 2 off the rack versus having one custom made.
Yeah.
Not that the kind of guys who can blow glass windows that are 20 feet. So we got plenty of stuff to talk about this week. Along with the steel beam, that's not an aesthetic thing, though. Did they tell them that was there to keep the building up?
I guess so. I guess you have to have those every once in a while if you have a flat roof building.
Right. The skylights you have to see from the bar. My mother had one. They always felt like they were it's a better idea to have them put in than to have them.
Right.
I feel like I might have them put in a house I was having built, but I always feel like I'd be afraid of buying a house with one in them.
Right.
Already.
They're a maintenance issue.
Yeah, you gotta. They always look dirty.
Right.
Except for the 12 seconds after you clean them.
Yep.
And then of course, God forbid they leak.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant at all.
No, not easy.
But neither of those is the case here. They are sparkling clean as far as I can tell. and and it's not raining, so they're not leaking.
Right.
So we have the big question of the week this week, and the big question of the week this week was hair hats. Now, the way that this works is each week we come up with a question and then we discuss it, and it's tourist or beach related or general life related, but this one is particular to the beach only because we're novelty heavy here.
Very novelty heavy.
I thought you were going to answer that. Yeah.
Well, no, absolutely. And, you know, the boardwalk has every T-shirt under the sun. They've gotten more and more crass. I drew my line at FBI female body inspector when I was like 12.
Yeah, and that's like, the tame one now.
That is pretty tame by today's standards.
I don't know who... I know who buys them. Everyone buys them. I don't know who wears them. And that's kind of like what we're getting at. Like, I think that with the novelty clothes in general, there's a space between, like, I am sure, and I don't think I've ever purchased a bumper sticker, but I'm sure that the number of bumper stickers purchased versus the number of bumper stickers on cars,
right?
I'll bet it's like 50%.
You think so?
I'll bet people get drunk and they're like, "Oh, dude, I'm gonna get this," and everybody's gonna know, and then they wake up and they're like, "I'm not putting that on my car." This is
hilarious.
And of course, we've all been behind the cars where the person is like, has never thought, "Oh, I'm not putting that on my car."
Right.
Like,
right.
They've never passed a bumper sticker and not purchased it and put it on their car. And there's a certain kind of, and it's both. I was in the tourism business for a very long time, and it was both like the blessing and the curse. Like, you love the idea that people come on vacation and feel like there are no consequences.
Yeah.
But you also don't like the fact that they come on vacation and behave as if there are no consequences. You know, it is a double-edged sword, and I have a good hair hat story though that I'm going to tell now.
Right.
Because. As always, I'll go off on something that's horrible, and I'll say why it's horrible until I embarrass myself, and then someone will say, well, here's an instance where it's not horrible, and then I'll have to walk it back.
Right.
So let me start by walking it back. So my wife teaches in the public school. She teaches at Pocomoke, and there's a gym teacher or a guidance counselor, some non-intellectual. That works either there or...
Shout out to all the gym teachers and counselors out there.
At one of the... My wife has come across this gentleman on occasion.
Right.
And whenever they... I think he's at the high school, and I think that he does it for the new student tours. He will wear that hair hat, like, every year.
Yeah.
He wears the hair hat, and every year he takes it off. And... if it's like once a year and it's part of like an annual shtick,
right?
I don't love it, but I get that.
Yeah.
Right. That's like, I mean, I'm making a speech in front of 12-year-olds. I'm making the same speech in front of 12-year-olds every year.
Right.
Hair hat's gonna come in really handy.
12-year-olds love this bit.
Yes, absolutely.
Know your room.
Every year, right? Every year, it's like, oh look, he's a grown-up, but he's also funny and cool.
Yeah.
Fine. Anyone out there who's willing to write into me and give me other instances where you wear a hair hat more than once, it's tough. It's just a tough thing, and I'm not saying that there are bad people. I'm just stuck on the compulsion to still wear it. Like, I bought a pair of pink, like flashy hot pink sunglasses on the boardwalk in Atlantic City.
Right.
And I wore them for 12 hours.
Right.
And now I don't have them
and
anymore.
And it was a gag.
Yeah. And it's over. But
I wonder if... So I have seen the hair hat, and I've seen it at bars, and I'm going to make a judgment that it's on older gentlemen who have been out golfing. I'm going to make a judgment.
Like, you know, and that's the thing. Like, you know pretty much everything you need to know about the guy in the hair hat. But go ahead.
So it is one of the... I don't know, and I haven't interviewed him, but I can imagine that this is kind of a funny thing. It's also a practical thing. I'm out on the golf course, and I want to cover my bald head.
Yeah.
I want to have a hat on. And then you forget that it's a gag after 18 hours.
But that's what's fascinating to me. After 18 holes, you forget it's a gag. Fine.
Yeah.
After 46? after 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, who wears one twice?
Right. And why would Guy Fieri intentionally make his real hair look like the hair of a hair hat?
I just read, and I don't know if you sent it to me. Someone sent it to me, like a weird love letter to Guy Fieri.
Oh, really?
And I don't know him. I know that people don't like
Flavor
him.
Town.
Yeah, but I don't. I only know the cartoon. I don't know the person. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I will live and die. I'm sorry, that's not true. If I'm stuck in a hotel room with my wife, she will put on something awful like
Diners,
Food
Drive-Ins,
Network or
and Die.
whatever.
Or
Like
whatever. Diner?
we were in a hotel once, and she was watching Say Yes to the Dress, and I was trying to see if I could get the window open so I could jump out. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't watch it. I'm just going to say I haven't. I'm against food shows. I'm against reality television. Food shows are reality television. Therefore, I don't know who Guy Fieri is. But I really like shows that make fun of things, and he's on all of those. And I'll find it and I'll post it up on. I'll put it in the show notes for this week's show. But there was a show that's like, it was like, this is a guy who just likes going to otherwise obscure mom and pop businesses, making them famous and making sure lots of people come there. And why do people hate him?
Why
for
do
that?
people hate him so much?
And I don't know. I don't hate him.
It seems like he's like the opposite of Chuck Norris. Like, he is famous for being hated, and
and not hateable.
and not.
And Chuck Norris is famous for being liked and not likable. Yes, that's exactly the case.
That is good.
So I don't think that was his choice. I think that he does his thing, and you have to.
But he's also kind of shameless and just like embraces it. And he's like the Nickelback in that way. He's like, guess what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to play the songs that everybody makes fun of.
We've been doing this for 10 years. Not a ton of people listen. We do not care.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being among the elite and the elected.
Maybe people need to hate us more.
Or like us less.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I also appreciate it because as a guy who does tend to come off as an obnoxious dude,
sure,
like, I can appreciate, coming off as an obnoxious guy. But my obnoxiousness isn't affected. I'm naturally obnoxious. I don't need a t-shirt. I don't need a hair hat.
You just exude it.
I just live it, right? And so I don't think that he's so. The point is that I think that that's just him,
right?
And I think that this is a coincidence, more than anything else. I have my notes, in my notes to when I wanted to talk about this, that I think that it was made for guys who would wear hair hats by people who hated guys who would wear hair hats.
You think so?
That's where the irony comes from for me.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's like, you know who'd wear this? Ed. I fucking hate Ed.
He's a super douche.
Ed's a douche. Let's get this on him and see what happens.
Right.
And so from there, it's not a long trip to having these guys run around with these hats on. And I'm not knocking the guys wearing. All right, now I'm knocking the guys wearing hats a little bit, but not like morally. It's just. It just brings us into the t-shirts, which I think are a little bit more interesting to talk about, and a little bit more. That's another kind of an impulse buy that you might forget you're wearing.
T-shirt, bumper sticker,
Right, all of those, the novelty wear, where you put it on and like you forget. You put it on and we don't know why you're wearing it.
Right.
We don't know if you're wearing it because you think it's funny or if you're wearing it because you want us to know that you don't think it's funny and you're wearing it ironically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a real hipster approach.
And in this post-ironic era, you wonder about that. But either way, you're the guy who bought it.
Wait, what's a post-ironic era? How is this a post-ironic era?
Oh, so by post-ironic, what I mean is ironic, like you can't tell whether people are being ironic or like irony is such a part of the culture,
right,
that you can't tell. There was this great. We actually talked about it on this very show, maybe 3 years ago.
We've been doing this for 3 years.
We've been doing this for almost 10. There was Southern Delaware was featured on The Daily Show. Do you recall that?
No, not
Southern
yet.
Delaware was featured on the Daily Show, Sussex County particularly, and a guy stood on the board of Sussex County in a trucker hat, and he said, "Okay, now I'm a redneck dipshit," and then he turns around and he said, "And now I'm a hipster asshole." Welcome to Delaware, you know, and that's what it was. It was this whole idea that they were wearing flannel and camo and a trucker hat, and just where you were standing dictated why you were wearing that.
Yeah.
And we have a similar thing here at the beach. I mean,
very
obviously.
much so. Very much so.
And buying the T-shirts is what, like, there are some, like, so there are several awful things that I haven't done that I've had the opportunity to do.
This is a great segment.
More than several. So, for example, but by trade, I'm a writer.
Yes.
So I can, and there are two, like, what that means is that I know how publishing works and I know how sentences go. It doesn't mean that I have spell check, right? And so I had the opportunity, for example, to write porn. I know, guys. I think he's been open about it. If not, he's getting outed now. But I believe Jeff wrote porn for a little while.
Oh, nice.
Like, because you got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said I'd be willing to shoot anything if the price is right.
Right. You know, and I had the opportunity to, and I could do it today. I had the opportunity to write papers. Like I can write 101 college papers for $100 a paper or whatever, and I don't do that because I'm better than you if you do. No, because I don't have to, because I found other ways that I can make a living.
Right.
And
less nefarious.
people are writing these T-shirts, and you have to wonder is it a guy like me who's like, all right, I either have to get a straight job, or I have to write some of these awful T-shirts. Yeah. Or is it a guy who's like, I love awful T-shirts. I have so much hate in me that I can only get it out one sentence, one thought at a time, not even a sentence, just one.
I think it is an evolving thing where coming down to the beach and the novelty T-shirts were a place where you could see something that was a little bit baudy or a little bit
that your parents
risque,
won't keep you from buying.
that your parents can't keep you from buying. Or so this is a hilarious story, and this may have shaped my my life. We were walking down the boardwalk, and I have my sister's 5 years older than me, and we have cousins who are her age and about, like older, three more older girls. And at the time I was, I'm gonna say 8, 7, 8.
Under 10.
Under 10.
By yourself and under 10.
No, with my sister and
but
cousins.
not with parents.
Not with parents.
Yeah.
And we're walking down the boardwalk, and they saw a shirt, and it said "Future Fox." And they thought that was adorable because I was an adorable 8-year-old.
Right.
And they're like, we're going to get this for you.
We're going to put it on you.
This is awesome. Like, this is funny. And so I was and honestly, I've blocked this memory out. I've been told the story.
This happens to me. Whenever someone talks to me, they tell me stuff they never thought they'd say.
On this episode of... yeah, so I cried. I was like upset that they wanted to get this shirt that was complimentary, but
That's interesting. And what do you think your objection was?
At the time, I was 8, and I thought they were making fun of me for that. I thought they were calling me.
They kind of half were.
Yeah.
They wanted to use you as a prop. That you should be upset about that.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Good. I feel validated.
Yeah. No, and there is that aspect of it, but I don't know who's buying. I don't think the grown men don't come with their parents,
no.
So they're spending their own money.
Yeah, but then they go to the bars, and I've witnessed this just this past year. Go to the bars, get drunk, and think it's funny. They then go buy the funniest shirt they can find, whether it's "I pooped today" or "I'm not gay, but $20 is $20."
Right.
Literally, those are shirts that friends have bought.
And so,
remind me, show notes, I have a picture of me standing with a grown man wearing that shirt.
I think I've seen that recently.
Yeah,
that's not a long ago.
This is like 2 months ago.
I think that it goes to this idea of a world without consequences.
Right.
And
the feeling of being at the beach is one of those.
That's the allure. That's if there's anything more alluring than the consequence-less life at the beach, it's hard to figure out what it could be.
Right.
You know, you're here. You don't have any, unless you have a baby. You don't have any responsibilities. You know, you just have to. Don't die, right? And some people, that's too much to ask.
Or don't kill anybody.
Right, don't die or don't kill anybody. Some people have said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I want to interrupt this story with a story from my life that I can't tell my wife, but I know she doesn't listen."
This is a deep episode.
Yes, speaking of things we would never tell, like the secrets we would never tell episode. So this morning I was riding my bike. I ride my bike for exercise in the morning all around town. And this old lady ran through a red light and nearly hit me. As my wife had been saying is going to happen. Like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's just me and her.
Right.
And so I chased her down. I didn't know she was an old lady at the time. I thought she was a guy. I thought I was going to have a fist fight. I'm like, I'm going to have my
4 in the morning.
I'm so amped, right?
And I'm going to be exhausted when I get there.
Furious, but I'm all adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to have a fist fight right now. So I'm pedaling and pedaling and pedaling. I catch he pulls over. I thought it was a newspaper guy, but it was a person going to do their laundry. And I pull over and I jump off my bike and I go over there and it's this old lady and I'm like, and I just started yelling at her. And then I'm like, I can't hit her. She's an old lady.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I have 4 daughters. You nearly killed me. I swore.
Yeah.
Because I know if you swear at old ladies,
yeah,
it hurts their feelings. But this wasn't hurting her feelings. So then I called the police, but then I hung up. Like I pretended like I was going to call the police. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to stand here and wait for the police. I want to finish my bike ride and go home. I don't care about this anymore.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to have a fist fight. My adrenaline is all misplaced.
I'm going to call the police and have a fist fight with the police.
Yeah, right? I felt myself like, you've seen me, how I start slow, and then once I get to a point.
All I know is last time this happened, the building burned down. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I did not burn the lazy lizard to the ground, but I was happy to see it go. And so I'm like, screw this. So I'm riding home and the police call me, right? And I'm still enervated. But I forgot that if you call 911 and hang up, they know the number. They're going to call you back. And I was like several blocks away at this time. And
they're like, Tony.
And the guy's like, you know what happened? And I'm like, you know what? This old lady blew through a red light. I didn't know she was an old lady. And I went after her. And it was an old lady. So there's nothing that could be done about it. And he's like, well, we can go over there. I'm like, she's a menace and she's old. She's gonna kill someone. There's nothing you can do about it. You can yell at her if you want. This is me. Now I'm yelling at the police. 4 o'clock in the morning, pedaling my bicycle in the pitch black of Del Mar. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. She's going to kill someone and you can't stop her. I'm like, she's a serial killer. She's just an old lady.
You've been warned.
Right. And then so he's like, well, what color was the truck? And I'm like, I don't know, blue, black. It was a dark truck. She's at the laundromat. Do whatever you like. And so finally they let me off the telephone, which was nice of them.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, that might be the first time I've called the police on a person in my whole life.
Yeah.
And it was an old lady. Who's a menace? I mean, like, she is going to run someone over.
Somebody.
When she runs someone over, I'm going to say, I told you so.
Right.
And I don't know what else I'm going to say. I just hope it's not me.
Well, this 2018 is sort of the year of white people calling the police on people that don't deserve it.
No, she deserved it.
Okay.
She deserved it. Like I said, if she was a guy, I'd be talking about this fist fight that I had this morning at 4:30 in the morning. I was so amped up. Because, as it turned out, she saw me. She just knew that if she ran the red light, she would bully me off the road.
So she was just trying to get, like, ahead of you.
No, she felt like the light wasn't changing.
T-bone situation?
Yeah.
Or like...
No, like a T-bone situation. She just felt like the light wasn't changing fast enough. And she knew if she stopped moving, that I'd skid off the road and come to a complete stop, which is what I did, which is where I got all the adrenaline to then go after her. Which is how I chase down. Like I'm knocking on 300 pounds. I'm 260, 80.
Yeah, but once you get the momentum.
Oh yeah, well that's. I chase this lady down like I'm Kevin Costner in that biking movie. Breaking Away? Not Breaking Away.
Breaking Away might be it.
All right. But anyway, the Kevin Costner Ray Don Chong movie with Dennis Quaid, maybe.
Oh, man.
I don't know. But I was biking like a maniac.
It's funny, we were just talking about sports movies, and Maddie got confused with Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid. So they were in the same movie together?
They were in a bike movie together. I don't think it was Breaking Away. I think it may have been American Cyclists. I don't know. We'll look it up. We'll put that in the show notes as well.
That was a quick side note.
Yeah, so sorry about that. We got distracted. So we did put it out on the internet, and while people got a kick out of it, people are. Last week when last show we talked. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say this. So the mustache is really big these days. In general, I'm sporting a little.
You're working on it.
Fu Manchu. I'm working on it. It's not there yet. You have a goatee, but that's only because you haven't been able to.
This is just an exhaustion.
You're a new grandfather and have a lot of shit to do.
Did you see any of the pictures of my grandson? All that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna get a hair hat.
I like that you said I finally found an appropriate
new selfie partner. Yeah. So yes, congratulations to me. I'm a grandfather now. His name is Nathan Thomas. His head is almost as round as mine. Not quite as big, but time is on his side. His dad's 6'7", his mom's 5'11". So
wow.
He's gonna be a big kid.
He's gonna be a big kid.
Which is good because I'm tired of lugging all the wood by myself. I get somebody to chop wood for me now. But yeah, no. So Nathan was born last week. That's one of the many reasons we didn't have a show last week. Last week my car was in the shop.
It was like a lost week.
Yeah, well, it was tough. But we're back. So anyway, last episode we talked about girly drinks, and we had plenty of people who were willing to chime in about girly drinks. Not as many willing to talk to chime in about their unfortunate novelty purchases.
Yeah.
I just posted it today.
Maybe we're shaming people too much.
Yeah, it might be, but it's just throw them out. And then. That's the question. Like, you're buying something that you know you can't use, you know? And that's what's always, like, and this is me putting my priorities on top of other people's, but, like, there are lots of times when I look at something and I'm like, yeah, that would be cool for 10 minutes, and then I've just created more garbage.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I don't have a ton of, like, I buy very, very few things anyway, but I don't have any of those. I don't know if I've ever worn a novelty t-shirt. My father got me a Grumpy's School of Charm t-shirt when I was a senior in high school. And I wore that ironically. But I think that's it. I don't wear irony. I guess that's the question is, why do we wear irony?
Yeah.
Why do you wear? You don't wear irony.
Well, it's funny because I feel like I kind of do, in that I like the idea of custom-made shirts, like sort of the clever shirt, not the, No,
but like one that you get made for you.
Yeah. Right. So, like, I came up with a video about don't be that guy, so I made a shirt that said that guy. you know?
That's fun.
Right. Like,
but that was to an end.
Yeah. And I wear it to the gym now. And I bought one. It's not like mass produced.
Right. And I get my wife wears them. Like, when I get the free t-shirts, I'll give them to my wife and she'll wear them and we'll wear them to the gym. But I don't wear t-shirts in general because I'm overweight and I don't like fat guys in t-shirts. I like fat guys in t-shirts. I don't love fat guys in Hawaiian shirts, and I love Hawaiian shirts. It's really hard for me to not wear Hawaiian shirts.
Well,
It's like an incentive. Like, if I ever clear the 200 mark on the bottom, I'm only wearing Hawaiian shirts.
At least you're not like Kevin Smith, always wearing a hockey jersey.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's not. I don't want to have a thing, but I definitely don't want a hair hat to be my thing. Like, oh, that's the hat guy.
Yeah, that's the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, they see me and they're like, oh, that's the guy who's going to talk until he hurts someone's feelings and then realize it and have to apologize. That's the guy I am.
That's my thing.
Actually, want to shout out.
If they wears a hat that said that.
So my sister-in-law wears gloves to clean her dishes.
Okay.
I think a lot of people do that.
Do a lot of people do that? I feel like that's like
This is what I was
50s.
saying. No. Lots of apparently, and I said, again, not knowing that this is I'm like, what's the Venn diagram of people who care a lot about their hands, but also have to do the dishes every night?
Yeah.
my sister-in-law put her hand up. She's like, well, I'm in it. And so I also don't ever do the dishes. And so I was doing the dishes, and the water was really, really hot. And I'm like, golly, I wish I had some gloves.
Golly.
To put on to keep this hot water from hurting my skin. And she got a huge kick out of that. And so that's why when I have this visceral response, like with the hair hat, or, I mean, the t-shirts are unexcusable, but the hair hat is something that I really would love. If you'd like to reach out and let us know,
yes.
I would really love to know why there are hair hats.
Do you have an uncle? Do you have a...
Right. Do you have who's a guidance counselor and wears it once a year? Right?
Do you have a stepfather? It's
right.
definitely a stepfather who wears...
It's somebody like that. It's golf related.
Yeah.
I mean, once you say it's golf related, that's also tough. And I have lots of good friends who golf and lots of family members who golf. I'll live and die. And I mean, just it's such a huge waste of space that's what makes it unconscionable for me. You know, build a hotel, do something,
right,
do something where more than one person can use it at a time. But we're pulling up toward the station now. We are going to do one cool thing. I don't know if you prepared yourself for your one cool thing for the week.
Yeah, sure. I got one.
Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and with one cool thing, and then I will go after you. Or do you want to think for a minute?
No. Well, so very leveled one cool thing. I don't think I had a chance to mention it 2 weeks ago because we skipped last week, but we got the van.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the van. We briefly mentioned it.
We got the van, and it's awesome. And it's interesting how people who aren't at the beach, and maybe this is something that we could discuss or could be a question for future episodes. It's like, why do people at the beach get certain things that people on the other side of the bridge don't get? Everybody on this side of the bridge, oh, we bought a van. Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
On the other side of the bridge, why did you do that? You know, like, just the basic concept without having to explain it. People understood on the beach side, on the non-beach side, didn't really understand the concept.
Well, my initial response to that is because
they're stupid.
Just when you're in a city, you're never that far from everything you need.
Yeah. Well, but you know, these are also like suburbanites who are outside of, you know, Baltimore and DC and that sort of thing.
Oh, that I don't know. I know that if I were, it's not practical in a city because you can get a place to stay. You can you can take an Uber home, and it's not a and you can find a workspace. You can always find internet. You know, you can always find a place to sit and work. Where here, you can't.
Not so much.
Like,
you got to create that.
You have to make that space here.
Well, so really, the one cool thing is, I met an individual through an uncertain. In the middle of a field of somebody else's property who didn't want people to know that I was in a van in the middle of his property. for filming, I was filming something, like being particular about his area, and of course he should be. But I had a blacksmith come out, and you know how much it costs to get like a key fob made?
A locksmith.
Yeah, did I say blacksmith?
You did
I keep
say
saying
blacksmith. Was he a black locksmith? Because that would be very funny.
No.
Don't answer that question.
I don't know, Tony. I don't see color.
I only see 17th century occupations.
I had a blacksmith come out and forge some horseshoes.
So you had a locksmith come out.
Locksmith came out, got me in, no problem. Super nice guy, independently owned. Nate Condor Locksmith, little plug there. And he cut me a key He gave me a spare to like, you know, a lockout key to put at the house or give the, you know, like, and cheaper than you could ever imagine, getting one of those fob keys from a dealership.
Yeah, it's like $1 billion.
Yeah. Like you have to take out a loan.
Yeah, you really do.
To get a second key. So he took care of me. It was a very stressful situation, and very cool to have another like small independent business owner come out and, you know, meet somebody new through unfortunate circumstances. But that was my one.
I'm surprised
cool thing.
he was able to get you in because you don't have like an electronic key that prevents you from, like my keys, even if my keys have a chip in them.
Yeah.
And so even if I can turn them, they don't start because they have to get programmed.
Well,
or does he have a programmer?
No, well, he has so the new key, yeah, he's, for whatever reason, he's like, I have a computer to be able to program it. Let's see if I need to. And he literally, because he mentioned that he does this for the Ford dealership because he's cheaper than their own service department to do this. Wow. You know, it's like, you know, the kill move in Mortal Kombat. It's like AB, right. You know, switch, turn, whatever, and then it's programmed to the ignition. Mm-hmm. Like I watched the guy do it. He knew exactly what he was doing, and it was a series of
that's crazy
things. And yeah, he didn't have to program it. And, yeah.
So quick pro tip: if you ever lose your keys, get them replaced by a guy
who can give you a new. Yeah, don't call the tow truck, because this is the other thing. The tow truck came, guy couldn't get it, like had the whole stick and everything, right, yeah. Couldn't. So,
break-in proof.
Yep.
Very cool. My one cool thing is I do want to plug my show, and on the outside chance that you listen to this show and not the other show, I do a show called This Is War, and on October 3rd, I have a show coming out. October 3rd is the 25th anniversary of the Black Hawk Down incident, and on October 3rd, I'll put out a show where I interview one of the Delta Force guys who was trapped in a house in Mogadishu, surrounded by hundreds of Somali war people, and
who wanted nothing
but to kill him. And he was there for 18 hours, and that's, you know, and my daughter asked me about it because she said, well, it seems like a lot of people. I'm like, well, just imagine that, like a bunch of, you know, commandos like took over a place here in Del Mar, and we all decided we wanted to kill them. Like, how many of us would it take to kill a bunch of commandos? Like I could maybe borrow a gun. Yeah. You know? And even if I was really, 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 really mad, like, even if we were all really, really, really mad, they're commandos. Like, they practice
their
this.
Job is to...
I'll be the 80th person he killed that day, you know?
And you'll be standing there going, this isn't going so well.
Yeah, this doesn't look as easy. But there's this one passage where he talks about how a rocket blew up part of the wall, and he got it all fortified and pulled the injured away, and then realized that the motor had come off the rocket and set the couch on fire. And so then he had to go back into the room, and he's trying to put the couch out during a firefight that include rockets. And I'm like, yeah, it's hysterical. I mean, it's funny, you know, and also terrifying. And you know, it was really cool guy to talk to. It's a 2-part episode because, you know, spoilers for episode 2. If you don't remember Black Hawk Down, what happened was the helicopter crashed and they couldn't leave the guys behind. They wouldn't leave the guys behind. Yep. So they had to guard the helicopter until the rest of the army could fight their way through, so they could pick up the guys in the helicopter and leave. And so 20
How many guys were there?
18 guys killed, 30. I think it was
9 guys on each helicopter or something like that.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, I don't know how many. I thought there were just 3 on the first one, and then
I should know, because this is gonna blow your mind. One of the few books that I've actually read
is Black Hawk Down.
Well,
the guy who got captured, he wasn't by that one. He was by the ones who were just killed. The guys who were thrown through the windshield and the helicopter landed on top of them.
Right.
So that's where he was for the firefight. But what's really crazy is 20 years later, he's in Iraq, and a helicopter crashes, And they're like, well, you got to guard it until we can get...
Wow.
And he's like, again?
This again?
He's like, last time I had to guard a helicopter, it went really poorly. Not for nothing.
Are you sure I'm your guy?
But anyway, if you haven't subscribed to this, if you stumbled upon it by accident, please tell your friends and listen to it and subscribe and reach out to us on social media. We'll tell you how to do that at the end of the show. We're going to come up with a question for next week. I have 2 in front of me. One, the headline is, "Hey lady, I hate you and your dog." The other one is, if you want to know what it feels like to get old. I don't know what these are going to say when I click on them, because these are notes I make to myself when I'm drunk about us that we should talk to. Do you have a preference?
I know the "Hey lady." Let's do. That's your neighbor. When you're going to kidnap your neighbor's dog.
Oh no, I did kidnap my neighbor's dog.
That's what that question is, right?
No, that question's about whether you should call the police. Oh, we did that last week.
Yeah.
Did we talk about whether you should call the police on your neighbor?
Yeah, I think we did.
We did. All right.
Yeah, that was the first. Yeah. So yeah, potluck.
No, actually, I was too drunk. We're not doing that other one either. I'll tell you that when we're off the air. Too drunk even for Todd. So the question for next week. Probably should have looked this up before I came. Now I got to edit. I don't have I have to mark it unread. Like,
Wait, what was I just?
So I'll read it to you only because it's funny. It says what is it like to get old? What is it like to get old? And then the note, and I'm erasing this. The note says, whenever I catch myself looking at or even for cleavage, I say to myself, dude, seriously? And I want to write about what it's like to be a pathetic old man. But I don't want to talk about it right now. All right, here we go. All right, Tony Russo. Down toward the bottom. Hey lady, I hate you and your dog. Beer blogging.
I think we settled the
Hair hat?
the hair hat.
Yeah.
That down here it's permissible, and things are changing. The whole void of consequences.
Looking forward to a future where kids prank cities by walking in front of self-driving cars and causing traffic jams.
Technology
and etiquette. Next time on the Toddcast. This is the part where I'm going to punch in with a good formulation of that question, and I promise to have a question ready for next week before we sit down. So until next week, I got nothing else. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town?
We'll see you next week at Happy Hour.
Cheers.
Day Drinking on Delmarva with Todd DeHart and Tony Russo is produced weekly, mostly by dumb luck. You can join them Wednesday afternoons at Bethany Blues in Bethany Beach, Delaware, or find them online at daydrinkingondelmarva.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll check back in with you next week.